This is the third Monday in January, if anyone out there is counting, but it's the day a British psychologist came up with some mathematical formula determining this to be the most depressing day of the year, presumably for countries in the middle of winter. So, what about you? Are you feeling the winter blues? CBC medical specialist Dr. Karl Kabasele joins me. All right, this is Blue Monday, considered to be the most depressing day of the year. Yeah. Is there any science behind it?
In a word, no. This is what you call junk science. Now, the concept, if this were science fiction, the concept is great. Because what this psychologist did was he made a calculation, this whole formula, where he took into account the weather, the cloudy, cold weather, the fact that your bills are coming in from the holidays and your credit card is to the max, the fact that you've made New Year's resolutions and they've all failed. So now you feel like a hopeless failure.
Give people a little more faith than that.
Well, yeah, that's true. But, and so based on this calculation, the third Monday in January was the date he came up with. Now, we should say that this was all part of a marketing ploy by a travel company that wanted to encourage people to travel down to, tropical beaches to fight this winter blues thing. And unfortunately, I mean, we sort of chuckle about it, but this is a serious medical issue. When people have seasonal depression, or even the winter blues, it can have an impact on people.
And why January, February? I mean, it sounds like a silly question because it's crummy outside, but a lot of people do stuff. I mean, I was out skiing this weekend. A lot of people skate, play hockey, do stuff with the kids. Why this particular time of year?
Well, in terms of winter blues, I mean, there are a lot of people who just don't like the winter. You're indoors, you can't do all the things you like to do. And the stats tell us that maybe up to half of Canadians are affected in some way by the season. About 15% have what we call winter blues, so there's an actual impact on their mood. And the actual number of people who have seasonal depression, I'm talking about clinical depression, is somewhere in the 2 to 3% range, maybe as high as 5%.
This is sad, right?
This is sad, exactly. Seasonal affective disorder. What we're talking about here is winter depression, because there are, interestingly, some people who become more depressed in the summer. But when it comes to winter depression, we're talking about a low mood or a sad mood. We're talking about people who tend to sleep more, don't want to get out of bed, have low energy and fatigue, and may have an increased appetite, and particularly a craving for carbs. And all of these things, when they happen over 2 consecutive winters, we can make a diagnosis, or a physician can make a diagnosis of seasonal affective disorder.
So what do you do to avoid getting hit by SAD?
Well, there are a few things that you can do, sort of simple things, and then, some more complicated things. So in terms of very simple things to do, get outside, get sunlight, because the theory here is that because days are shorter and you're not getting enough light into your eyes, this is what's causing the problem. So get outside, exercise. That's another way of boosting the endorphins and all those good feel-good chemicals in your body. Those are things that are helpful. And ironically, taking a vacation down south can help.
Are you in on this marketing ploy? No, I'm kidding.
Well, no, for those who can afford it, because you are getting more exposure to sun and light, and that can help some people. Now, if none of that helps, first of all, you should see a doctor and be diagnosed before you assume that you have seasonal affective disorder, because there are other medical things that can mimic as this seasonal affective thing. For example, if you're hypothyroid, your thyroid gland is low, you may have low energy, etc. But if you've been diagnosed with seasonal affective disorder, then there are treatments that are quite effective, starting with light therapy. You might have heard of this, where you get a special light that you put on your desk in the morning. You're reading your paper, you're working on your computer. The light is off to one side, so you're not looking right into it, but it's giving you the light that hopefully will help to raise your mood. Other modalities include antidepressants, medications, and also talk therapy or counseling. That can help some people to get out of this depression.
All right, what do you say to those who are watching right now? You said it takes 2 winters or 2 seasons to diagnose this.
To make a clinical diagnosis.
To make a clinical diagnosis. So right now you wake up, it's Monday morning, you got to go back to work, it's kind of cold outside, you're feeling depressed. Doesn't necessarily mean you have SAD. That's
right. It might just be the winter blues, or, the weather gets to you. When there are so many consecutive days of cold, gray skies, there are some behavioral things you can do. Get together with people that you enjoy being with. Do that exercise, because that's not only going to help your heart health, but it's going to make you feel better. And just be optimistic that spring is coming.
It's going to be a great day today, Karl.
There you go.
There you go.
Mind over mood.
You too. Thank you, Karl.
All right.
CBC's medical specialist, Dr. Karl Kabasele. It certainly wasn't uncomfortable.